When the monsoon session of Parliament convenes in the coming week, the Modi government and the opposition will be coming head to head after some cataclysmic developments. The terror attack in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir, Operation Sindoor, and the Air India crash, to name just a few. In the meantime, we've also had the intriguing comment by RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat drawing a retirement red line at the age of 75. Not that anybody who really understands politics thinks that it applies to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Even so, Mohan Bhagwat's comments are intriguing, coming as they do when the BJP is still to announce who its next party president will be. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. On the program today, we look ahead at the upcoming monsoon session of Parliament, where, as I said, the Modi government will go head to head with the opposition on a series of sensitive issues, on a series of potentially inflammatory issues. There has been the terror attack in Pahalgam, there has been Operation Sindoor that has followed, and there has been the horrific and tragic Air India crash. In the midst of all of this, you've had a statement from RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat, who made it a point to say in Hindi that he thought 75 was a good age to retire. Nobody really thinks that this is some sort of direct signaling at Prime Minister Modi, but the comments have attracted attention at a time when the BJP is yet to make a disclosure over who its next party president will be. Remember, it's also political season again. Elections are coming in Bihar. The government and the opposition have gone head to head over the Election Commission's proposal to revise the electoral rolls. But the Congress has problems of its own. Shashi Tharoor became one of the foremost faces of Operation Sindoor's advocacy around the world, and that tension on what the Congress will do with Tharoor continues to simmer. In the meantime, in Karnataka, the Congress has a different kind of headache, where the Siddaramaiah versus DK Shivakumar differences are now spilling out into the open. How will the Congress handle that? There's a lot to talk about, including the BJP and the RSS's own internal politics and the Congress's own internal politics as well. Let me welcome to the program our newsmaker today, Neerja Chowdhury, is with us, veteran journalist, columnist, and prolific author. Thank you so much, Neerja. This Parliament session is convening, as I said, in the backdrop of really, really big developments in the national news cycle. A terror attack, a limited war, an air crash, to mention just a few. What are you expecting in this Parliament session? If you had to sort of look at the political mood, who's on the front foot, who's on the back foot, what is the overall picture that you see?
Barkha, I was thinking of the day they announced the Parliament session, that it would convene on 21st of July, and not a special session to discuss Pahalgam and Operation Sindoor, which was one of the opposition's demands. Today, as we face the Parliament session, normally, suppose a special session had been held, the government would have been on the mat fully and squarely on every aspect of the intelligence failure, the security failure that Pahalgam represented, and many scores of questions about Operation Sindoor. But the Chief of Defence Staff talked about, certain things having gone wrong. So that would have been the play in the Parliament session. Today, as we look at the Parliament session on 21st of July, as you yourself have said, many other controversial issues have overtaken Pahalgam and Operation Sindoor. They will dominate the parliamentary debate as much as Pahalgam and Operation Sindoor and the issues thrown up by those developments. Certainly what is happening in Bihar, the intensive exercise to revise the roles, which somebody said to me today is probably going to have more of an impact than Operation Sindoor in the long run. It could be more emotive an issue. That will certainly come up. You talk about Karnataka, you talk about, those are the usual political developments. So I think, and then of course, Mohan Bhagwat's words, RSS chief's words, hinting that those who attain the age of 75 should make way for others. Of course, he was quoting the late Moropant Pingle, a very tall figure in the RSS hierarchy. And when he was given the shawl, when he turned 75, it is a gesture that he must now move on. So he was quoting Pingle, but he was certainly, Mohan Bhagwat does not make casual remarks. He makes very nuanced statements. And for him to say that, of course, opposition has latched onto it. Why has he said it at this particular juncture? Will it figure in parliament? Of course, it will figure in parliament. India's foreign policy will figure in parliament. So a whole lot of issues are going to figure in parliament, and the opposition is getting his ammunition ready.
But I feel that every time the opposition tries to target the BJP on issues involving national security, nationalism, it actually ends up on the back foot. So, when you say that had a special session been convened after Pahalgam or after Operation Sindoor, the government may have been on the back foot. We don't know that for sure. Because in the nationalism debate, usually it's the BJP that manages to win. Yes, there would have been questions about Trump's repeated references to having played a role in the halt in military operations, between India and Pakistan. But the fact of the action itself, the fact of the military action itself, is something that the BJP would have said, look, we did after Pulwama, we did Balakot. After Pahalgam, we've done Sindoor. So wouldn't the advantage have gone to the BJP, and might it not still go to the BJP?
Yes, possibly, Barkha, because the BJP gets its act together very quickly. And yet, it would have been the only and the central issue to be discussed by Parliament. Today, that will not be the only and central issue. There are many other, what are called sexy issues in political parlance that will hold people's attention, and the opposition will certainly take the government to task on them. As I said, of course, Bihar will capture attention, whether Mr. Narendra Modi, when he turns 75 on 17th of September, is going to make way for somebody else. I don't think so. I don't think there's any chance of that happening.
I mean, who actually thinks that? I'm glad you brought that up, because ever since Mohan Bhagwat made that remark, I think only anybody who follows politics is going to know that this is not any cue to Mr. Modi, now it's time for you to retire. Surely we can't be thinking that. Surely that's not even a serious question.
No, absolutely. No question. And I've had, senior leaders in the BJP say, even if it was a rule, a norm, or convention, these things can be changed. There's no question of Mr. Modi making way for somebody else. In all likelihood, he's going to be the face of the party and the NDA in 2029. And many in the RSS accept that reality. Given that, why has the RSS chief raised that? And as I say, Mr. Mohan Bhagwat is always, his words are measured. The RSS leaders don't speak, they don't speak casually. It's a very measured, thought through statements that they make. So was Mr. Mohan Bhagwat putting the Prime Minister under pressure? Remember, it's one whole year, 13 months, and the party president has not yet been decided. Mr. Nadda, remember, during the course of the campaign in the 2024 elections, had made that dramatic statement that the BJP was now capable enough to, handle its own affairs. It did not need any hand-holding by the RSS. A very big statement to make. And I think it's a statement that could not have been made without the clearance of the top in the party. Therefore, of course, it made the RSS very unhappy. And remember, the RSS held back. It did not campaign as it normally does for the BJP in the Lok Sabha election. And therefore, you had 240 seats for the BJP. We all know that. And then the RSS, bent over backwards to campaign for the BJP in the Haryana, Maharashtra, and Delhi elections. We know what the results were, very convincing victories for the BJP. But the question of the organization, how it's going to be handled in the next years, very important. It's a very important period. RSS completes its 100 years this year. And it will be looking for not just core agendas. It wants to move towards India becoming a civilizational entity. And therefore, who heads the BJP, one of the 35 organizations front organization that it takes care of and is connected to is of supreme importance to the RSS. It should be
I
somebody younger.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say
Therefore,
I tend to agree with you that the comments made by the RSS chief are not literally about, oh, you're Mr. Modi, you're turning 75. This is a cue to you to go. I agree with you that I think the Prime Minister will very much be the likely face of the party in 2029 as well. He's absolutely fit as a fiddle, health wise, and I see no reason why he wouldn't be the face again. But I do think that the comment should be seen in the context of the debate or the quiet tussle between the RSS and the BJP over who should be party president. And I think my question is on that. What are the pulls and pushes there within the Sangh Parivar, according to you?
I think that, as I was saying, the organization is very important, supremely important to the RSS. And they will not say it openly, but they would like somebody who could take decisions independent of the government if necessary, and would not only play to the short term, that is bailing the government out as and when it is in trouble, which is of course they may do. But so they have been looking for somebody younger. So of course, somebody who will be able to work with the government, with people in government, with the top two, the Prime Minister and the Home Minister. The Home Minister, even though he is no longer the party president as he was earlier, and made way for Mr. J.P. Nadda, has played a very central role in organizational matters and will in all likelihood continue to do so. So somebody who caters to aspirational India, somebody who's tech savvy in what is called a hetero world, with entities like Elon Musk also, playing the kind of role, larger than life role globally. So people who are savvy on a whole lot of fronts and yet are connected to the ground and can be a bridge between the party and the RSS. So they would have many things in mind, but the person who heads the party has to be able to walk in step with the Prime Minister and the Home Minister. That also is a very important requirement. Now, there were three names that were doing the rounds earlier: Mr. M.L. Khattar, Bhupendra Yadav, and Dharmendra Pradhan. But really, it was Bhupendra Yadav who was the front runner. Now, he may still emerge as, re-emerge as the favorite in the final analysis. But in the last 2 to 3 weeks, the name of women has come to the fore. Nirmala Sitharaman, Purandeshwari, there's Vaniti Srinivasan, an MLA from Coimbatore. All these three names, that women are a very important constituency, and the southern part of India is where the BJP is going to be looking to expand, is also going to be very important for the Sangh Parivar, for the party. So I don't know, finally, the BJP is very good at springing surprises, as you and I know. So who will finally emerge as the choice, we will know soon. But people also say that if the party president's name is not announced very soon, say in the next 10 days or 2 weeks, then it may well get postponed to after the Bihar elections.
Which is possible and likely, right? I don't think they'd want necessarily the status quo to be necessarily disturbed before the elections.
Could be. On the other hand, if you do have an organizational reshuffle, which will follow if the party president is named, and now there is no reason why they should delay it, because technically 50% of the party chiefs in the states have been elected, which is a prerequisite for choosing the national president. All that is now over. That work is done and dusted. Therefore, there's no reason why it should be delayed. And suppose, hypothetically speaking, Barkha, the task had been given only to the RSS or an RSS chief, you select the party president. By now, it would have been done. If the task had been given only to the BJP's top leadership, by now it would have been done. But the fact is, the concerns of both have to be taken on board. And that middle ground, that consensus, that agreement, obviously has not yet been arrived at on who will be the party chief. And remember, it's the party chief of the largest election organization, political organization in the world, of in a country with 1.4 billion Indians,
Yeah.
and a party that is now going to face a fourth term, make a bid for fourth term in office. So it is a name that has to be chosen with utmost care,
Yeah.
and it's a very, very important position.
Well, the name was supposed to be announced after the Prime Minister returned from the BRICS summit, and it hasn't been announced yet, which points to a certain amount of, as I said, push and pull, which is normal. But let's see if it actually the name comes in the next 10 days. In the meantime, what do you expect to be the main flashpoint in Parliament? One, we do not know if Parliament will function. Will it get adjourned every day? Is there actually going to be a debate on foreign policy? Is the Prime Minister going to speak? We're not sure right now on how this is going to unfold. What do you see as the main flashpoint? Do you see it as foreign policy, or do you see it as the Bihar electoral rules debate?
I think both. Foreign policy, why has India lost ground in the neighborhood, particularly? How
Hmm.
is India going to navigate the global changes? You have Russia, its all weather friend, this time not so hot on Indian concerns. Of course, Russia is now moving in tandem with China and will find it very difficult to de-link itself from China. And then the US being ruled by somebody like Donald Trump, you don't know what he's going to do the next day. uh, so there are multiple challenges, and the neighborhood is not as friendly to us as required. So how do we navigate those situations? All these questions will come up. Certainly Operation Sindoor, certainly security failure and intelligence failure that led to Pahalgam, and Bihar will feature big time. The SIR in Bihar, that is
Yeah.
agitating the opposition majorly.
Rahul Gandhi has gone so far as to make a speech where he said that first the election in Maharashtra was stolen, and now there is an attempt to steal the election in Bihar. The case is before the Supreme Court, and before the first sort of revised electoral roll is published, the Supreme Court has to take a decision that could well happen in the middle of the monsoon session. How do you see Bihar playing out? You mentioned that somebody said it could be even more emotive than Sindoor. The question is it an issue outside of Bihar? Will it galvanize the opposition to come together? Operation Sindoor was able to, the advocacy that followed was able to create a kind of interesting political advantage for the Modi government, because key opposition leaders were representing India on the global stage. Supriya Sule, Priyanka Chaturvedi, Shashi Tharoor, of course, Salman Khurshid, right? And even other leaders from the southern states. My question, Kanimoi, the question therefore is that, do you really find a single issue on which the opposition can come together and also create a narrative that speaks to a larger audience?
I agree with you that the delegations that went abroad, the message was much more for the domestic audience, but I think it was a very good move made by the Prime Minister, and the
Hmm.
opposition played ball. And you had suddenly you realize how seasoned and savvy leaders are there in the opposition parties today that India could well be proud of. It's not just ruling party, but others. And but the Prime Minister, to use the services of the opposition was, I think, a very, very good move for the
Hmm.
country. But can the opposition come together? Yes, I think on the whole, Bihar SIR, it
Hmm.
is possible that they will come together. On foreign policy, it is possible that they will come together. And Bihar SIR could be a very emotive issue. Of course, people have said to look at the electoral rolls is an exercise that the EC should do. But many questions have arisen. For instance, the people in the ruling group say that if you had 100 crore people in the country as population the year 2000, and today, 25 years later, it's 140 crores, 1.4
Hmm.
billion, then
Hmm.
that's a huge rise of population.
Hmm.
How has that happened? They're pointing to the fact that have there been illegal immigrants that have come in, and that
Hmm.
would affect the eastern states. Eastern states are something the BJP is looking at also to win. Now, illegal immigrants, people getting onto your electoral rolls, is an issue of concern. and should be an issue of concern to the Election Commission. But the way they are going about it has caused concern also. Do you that should the Election Commission go for exclusion of those who are already on the rolls rather than inclusion of those who have been left out, which is traditionally the way that is worked out? And also, should it be an exercise about citizenship or legitimate voters? And if it is, as the Supreme Court has also pointed out, if it is an exercise about citizenship, then the EC is not the right body to go about it. So they're very pertinent. Many people have raised these questions. And the burden of proof going on the voter instead of the Election Commission. So I'm having to produce documents, which is going to be very difficult for poorer people who migrate, and a lot of people from Bihar do so. Where are they going to get these documents? And is there enough time to produce those documents? So is it not going to be a very unfair exercise given the timeline? The TDP, an ally of the BJP, has pointed this out, that it should not be about citizenship. It should be about voters, legitimate voters, and enough time should be given. I think those are wise words that the TDP has come up with. But the Supreme Court will decide. But let me say this, if poorer people, and that will include Dalits, that will include the extremely backwards, that will also include women who get married and go from one place to another, if they get turfed out of the voting list, then it could become a very hot issue. Let me tell you what a taxi driver in Delhi said to me. He said, ma'am, बाकी सब तो ठीक है, चीजें ठीक हैं, लेकिन अगर हमारी वोट के साथ खिलवाड़ होता है तो देश में भगत सिंह पैदा हो जाएंगे. अब भगत सिंह पैदा होंगे कि नहीं मुझे मालूम नहीं, but as I say, it could become a very emotive issue. I think the government needs to move with caution and care.
Yeah. And also, it's not only about Aadhaar, it is also about identification that has been given in the past by the Election Commission itself, like voter ID cards. The fact that, and so I think this is definitely a big issue, but it is also a technical issue, and it will fall on the opposition to create enough awareness of it outside the state of Bihar for it to get the kind of national attention that I think that an issue like this should get in debates and public spirited debates. But it will be very important to see how the Supreme Court responds, because right now, it's in the court of the Supreme Court, quite literally. I want to end by taking a look at what's happening within the Congress. We've spoken about what's happening within the BJP, the sort of silent little power play within the Sangh Parivar. But what about the Congress? It has headaches of its own. Its headache began with its failure to own Shashi Tharoor. And I think the last time we spoke, you were pointing out how Tharoor had become an almost autonomous political phenomena, autonomous of his party. And now you have the ruptures that are taking place within the Karnataka Congress between the Chief Minister and his deputy, Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar. When you look at Kerala and Karnataka, in terms of the rifts or the tensions within the Congress party, what do you see?
Karnataka is a state where the Congress could have made that state into a showpiece for the whole country. It had the opportunity to do so. And if it is true that the 2.5-year, rotational leadership formula was promised to Mr. DK Shivakumar, now this has neither been confirmed nor denied.
Yeah.
Then it's by now, one thing we should have learned after Rajasthan and it's being promised to Sachin Pilot and the leadership not being able to deliver it, one thing the Congress should have learned is that 2.5-year formula is a complete non-starter. And I think Siddaramaiah, to dislodge him, unless he voluntarily makes way for Mr. DK Shivakumar, which is unlikely. He himself has said there's no vacancy, he's going nowhere. And the High Command has also given similar indications, and DK Shivakumar has also said as much publicly. But this war of attrition continues, and that suits the BJP, even as the government continues. So it is unfortunate that the leadership in Delhi, the High Command, is not able to prevail upon the leaders to come to some kind of an agreement. Rahul Gandhi did not even see both of them when they were in Delhi. The Congress, one gets tired of saying this, Barkha.
Yeah.
The Congress, the Bharat Jodo march that Rahul Gandhi undertook gave him a very different position from the one he'd held earlier. But somewhere that momentum has petered out after the loss of elections in the states that were held last year and in Delhi earlier this year. And somewhere that momentum, that initiative has to be re-seized by the Congress. Let's see how they do in Parliament.
Absolutely.
I keep asking, why is Priyanka Gandhi in the background? She did very well in the winter session.
Yeah, she's been very quiet, except she seems to speak on very specific issues. Kerala, Wayanad, for where she's, of course, a member of parliament, and she does speak on Gaza and Palestine, carrying that bag, which has created debates of its own. But generally, she's been quite in the background. I want to end by asking you what you think will happen with Shashi Tharoor.
I don't think he's going to join the BJP. As for the BJP, it would like to use his services while he's in the Congress. That suits them better. He's repositioning himself. He would like a larger role. How this gets panned out, will the Congress party throw him out? I don't think they will do that before the Kerala elections next year. So it will just continue the way it is continuing.
So you think that he will not leave, nor will he be asked to go? It'll just drag on, at least till the Kerala election is over. But his dream of being the man to be the Kerala chief minister possibly is not something the Congress will encourage.
No, that is very clear. But otherwise, by now, he would have been projected as the leader of the party, keeping CM-ship in mind. But they have to contend with the opinion in the Congress party in Kerala, which does not seem to favor him.
Lots of questions, and I think how Parliament plays out over the next couple of weeks will be very important. Neerja, thank you. I'm sure we'll talk to you again once Parliament session actually starts. It's always a pleasure. Take care and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.